Welcome to the show that looks at truth, fiction, and reality with a smirk. I'm Aaron Peterson.
I'm Amanda Sink.
And I'm Zach Parkerson.
And welcome to Smirk. Each week, one of our hosts introduces an original story, which we then use as a springboard for a spirited discussion on whatever the moral or theme of that story was. And typically, that discussion is lighthearted. And before we move on, recently, a couple weeks ago, I really feel like that episode came, it's a lot more prominent these days.
Yeah, it sure is.
That was your story. No, whose story was it?
It was Zach's.
Zach's
That was
story.
me. Yeah, I was talking about.
Yeah, I sure didn't bring it up.
No.
The
Hero
diddling.
worship. All that hero worship, and then Hardwick. I'm sorry, we can't. He who
Don't.
should be named.
He who shouldn't, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's very complex. It's tough.
Stitches Hurt. That was the episode.
That was the
25.
episode. Yeah, a very good story from a young, talented writer, I would say.
I agree. Okay, so this week it's my story, and I'm going to tell something that I think you guys are probably going to see where it's going before it gets there.
Is it more dead people?
It's a holiday theme. Therefore, dead people.
Therefore, dead people?
It's possible. It's possible. You never know.
It's 4th of July.
It could
Does
be.
it
I
involve
already know what it is.
patricide?
Does it involve fireworks?
Is it, what did Zach say? Patricide?
Yeah, killing your father.
Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe.
That's a very, you went in a dark way.
What? People kill their dads all the time.
Yeah, it's just like killing a homeless man. No different.
Yeah.
It's had to be related.
Either way, nobody notices.
Wow. All right.
Oh my God.
If you guys are ready, it is time for my story. God, you're dark.
Yes, sir.
Dusk was approaching, and Sadie knew that meant trouble. Living on the seedy side of Los Angeles, she had seen her fair share of depravity. Drive-bys, assault, muggings, and just general thuggery. She knew that if she did not get back to her apartment quick, back to a cage of her own making, she knew things would end poorly. As Sadie rounded the corner, she saw them. 4 young men, all blinged out and dressed to cause problems. She kept her head down and began to soldier on. Don't make eye contact, she thought. Then the catcalling began. Oh no, she thought. I knew running late today, of all days, was going to lead to this. Sadie continued just as she heard the feet behind her. At first they seemed distant, but they gained rapidly. She looked up at the rising full moon, as if to pray for whatever assistance the skies and the heavens could provide. Where you going, sexy? One of them said. Sadie ignored them and kept moving, picking up speed. Hey, I said where are you going? He demanded. Home. I don't want any trouble, Sadie replied, never breaking stride. The footsteps, though, they were close. So close behind her. Suddenly he jumped in front of her, stopping her dead in her tracks. Do you think you're better than me? Do you think you're better than us? He asked, just as he lifted his shirt to expose his handgun. Do you not think we're worth a simple conversation? Of course I do. I just don't have the time. Please, I have to go. I don't want any trouble, Sadie replied and attempted to veer around him, when suddenly his 3 friends surrounded her. It's too late for that. You're not going anywhere. Looks like you found us, and we'll let you call us trouble, he said as his entire crew looked her up and down, leering. They each had Sadie pinned. She knew she wasn't going anywhere, and exactly what it was that they wanted. Sadie looked up again at the sky, let out a sigh, and looked at their leader. You misunderstood. I wasn't worried about you getting to me. I was worried about me getting to you. With that, Sadie's brown eyes quickly turned yellow. Her teeth began to elongate. What the hell is wrong with you? The leader asked, as each of the 4 men began to tremble in shock. Sadie grinned, a full Cheshire smile, her fangs now fully exposed. Oh, I'm going to be just fine, she growled. As her fingers completed the transformation to hairy claws, she snarled back, How do you think this will end for you? Under the light of the moon, the screams and growls disappeared in the wind, and Sadie made it home in time to watch a glorious sunrise.
Oh. Well, that was interesting.
Huh?
Wow.
Thought it
It
was
took a
gonna-
turn.
That was going to be another one of my sad holiday
Yeah.
specials.
I was waiting for Batman to show up.
Aw, Batman would have been cool.
Hello, Sadie. I'm here.
But I do like that she took care of herself.
Is your mom's name Martha?
That was a great scene. That's a great scene in that movie.
Yeah, it was. So what do you guys think the moral of that story was?
Got to take matters in your own claws.
That is funny. I don't know, something simple like don't judge a book by its cover.
Bam!
Was it really?
That's
Wow.
actually nailed it.
Hooray! I got one right out of how many episodes?
That's about the first time, but good job. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the first time anybody got it right.
That's exactly what it was. Don't judge a book by its cover, because the whole story, you think it's going the one way and it's going to end badly, and poor Sadie.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
I didn't think it was going to end badly. At no point did I think you were that twisted.
Now I'm going to rewrite it.
We're going to scrap this whole episode.
That sounds like Aaron.
Yeah.
So when everybody hears it and you guys are laughing, it ended horribly, and they're going to think you're terrible people.
This is what happens when that person is the editor.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times. Don't judge a book by its cover. I think that's pretty simple. I think I would say it's cliche, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
plus I wanted
It's
to
an
talk
expression for a reason.
There you go. Plus I wanted to talk about werewolves. So bam.
What made you want to talk about werewolves? Was there like an inspiration?
They're a hoot.
They're a hoot. Okay. All right.
And a holler.
No, I don't know. I felt like we've had some serious topics and some fun topics. It was time to get back. We did Ghosts. We had a lot of fun with that one. So I wanted to do my favorite monster.
Your favorite monster is werewolves?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have one.
You don't have a favorite monster?
Do you have a favorite monster, Amanda?
You're a monster.
Who doesn't?
I'm your favorite monster?
No, you're not my favorite monster.
Oh, sorry. What's your favorite monster?
Sorry. My favorite is probably vampires because I like the progression that's happened with vampires, like where they started and how they've
the shining,
evolved.
Like all the sparkling?
No. I was going to say except for Twilight. That doesn't count. That's not
shimmer
vampires.
in the light.
You don't sparkle.
So beautiful.
No, they're not. No.
Who wouldn't want a vampire mirror ball?
Those vampires deserve to be in the 70s so they can disco along with the dance parties.
They would stand out.
They would blend in with the disco balls is really what would happen.
So anyway, Twilight sucks. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So you don't have a favorite monster, Zach?
It's Buster Bluth. And Arrested Development fans are laughing right now.
Both
I
of them?
assure you. There are dozens of us. Dozens! They laughed at that too, by the way.
Why don't you explain that to the people who don't care about that show?
And I don't tend to watch it.
Buster Bluth loses a hand at one point. He gets replaced with a hook. So he often just, when he's upset about something, he'll just scream, "I'm a monster," and then start cutting things up with his hook hand.
Okay, all right.
And then dozens of us is because a character is never nude. And there are dozens of us. Dozens. So.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm playing to the wrong audience right now. There are listeners chuckling right now. You guys don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like mummies. I think mummies are cool.
Yeah, mummies are cool.
I've never understood how scary would a mummy actually be. I mean, I can outrun you, dude. I can just throw water on you, and then it's really hard for you to move because you're all damp.
I don't know. Emotep, he showed some force.
That's the exception to the rule. Most mummies are just wrapped up in gauze, and they're going really slow. And I don't even know what they want, but they take forever.
They're undead. You can't take them down.
And some of them, they
You
have
can outrun
like supernatural elements behind them where they can actually like steal your soul, or they can take over your body by inserting their soul into that body.
Whoa!
So mummies are
That is
kind of
naughty.
cool.
They're kind of
Ew,
dirty is what they
No,
are.
why
Yeah.
did you take it
Was
that
it-
way?
It's Sophia Botella in the new Mummy film, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, she certainly stole something from me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
She was actually really good in that movie.
She was. Also, she's very pretty.
Also, she was very pretty.
That was like a high school statement.
so
like a high
fanboy.
school
Shit.
nerd.
Hey, whoa, I was not a nerd in high school. Please, thank you.
All right, so my first question is, did those boys get what they deserved?
Oh, no
Heck
question.
yeah, they did.
Next question. Move on.
That was easy. Let's talk
Yeah,
about the
come
next
on.
thing.
Yeah, shortest episode ever.
Wow, so they deserve to die?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me reiterate my stance on the death penalty, but yeah.
I'm a big supporter of the death penalty.
I'm not. But
Ooh, this feels like it could be a whole episode someday.
Yeah, yeah. Let's veer off the topic for now.
part 2.
We'll get back to it when we all just scream at each other, 5 weeks from now.
So no debate whatsoever. All right.
I mean, I don't think there's any question. Do you, Aaron?
No, not really. I mean, I'm cool with
Yeah.
it.
See, I don't think there's. So it's hard to advocate for the attempted rapist.
Maybe they were just gonna like be really annoying.
Look, our legal system isn't going to do anything about it, so at least this werewolf will.
This werewolf is the Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's taking out the trash.
I like it. So if you had the powers of a werewolf, would you use them if you could command them at any time?
Well, let's go over what all the powers are, because don't they just like get hungry and eat people? Like, do they have any other power? Because I don't really want to eat people.
Well, I mean, they have enhanced strength and stamina, right?
They do, but
Speed.
I got to come back to this. How do you know you don't want to eat people if you never had one?
That's a good point. But I'm too picky of an eater. I won't even eat seafood. I
really want to reiterate to people, you don't know if you don't like something if you haven't tried it.
This is probably not a statement you should be making. We are not affiliated with Aaron's statement, or at least I'm not.
Just making a statement. Broad statement.
I would try human, sure.
If they were consenting.
Why not?
If they were consenting.
Yeah, if my best friend had to amputate his leg and he's like, dude, check it out. I got them to ground up this leg. You want to try it with me? I'd be like, of course I will.
Oh, you just turned off so many people. Would you do it like sushi or?
No, it would have to be like a burger.
Yeah.
You want it nice and juicy.
Werewolves eat it so raw. It's just gross.
Yeah, I don't think I'd eat a raw leg, like straight from the bone, but.
Well, I think their powers are they become unkillable. They're vicious. So many people have silver bullets on them at any given moment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine are in the shop.
Right? Hang on, I got to run back to the bedroom and find my silver bullet that I got as a collector item at a con for that book I like. Yeah, so no.
I don't know that. I don't ever really think to myself, I'd like to be a werewolf. It just doesn't hit me like that.
Sad thing that I do.
I'm a little concerned, like, if you're hungry, what are the chances you're going to eat my pinky?
I don't think all werewolves eat people, only when they're attacked.
Right. Or, well, it's always, it's such a curse being the werewolf because you don't have full control and you eat people. Isn't that the whole shtick? Isn't that why in movies people are trying to go to the woods before they transform so they can change themselves to a tree? Yeah,
but here's the thing. Like, people can rewrite, because it's, fiction. They can rewrite those rules and make it so I can just transform and then bam, I'm Billy the werewolf. And I want to go eat people when I feel like it.
It's the name of my new hit animated series, Billy the Werewolf.
It could happen.
I mean, do you think about, it's obviously your favorite monster. Would you really want to be a werewolf?
I think it'd be kind of cool. As long as I could control it. I don't want to go hurt anyone that I don't think does.
You don't want to go what to people?
Hurt anyone.
Oh, I thought you said "rrr," and I was like, what is that? Is that like a werewolf?
Right now.
Yeah, he's putting his scent on him.
I'm getting a howling moment right now. Oh, yeah.
You're looking a little hairy.
You just stay here in the office while I transform. Don't go anywhere. Can we talk about that for a minute? Why in movies do they never run when they're transforming? Why do they always watch until the transformation is complete?
You'd be transfixed.
What do you mean?
How could you not watch something reshape its entire skeletal and muscular structure in front of you?
Yeah.
You've seen a movie. You know what happens when it's done. Why wouldn't you run like hell?
But now I'm the only person who's seen somebody transform into a werewolf.
Yeah, and nobody's going to know that because you're dead.
There's a high chance that. Well, luckily my silver bullet is only ever in my, it's in my front zipper of my bag, so
you keep it.
I'm usually ready. Keep it right next to my garlic.
You're so handy.
Interesting. Do you guys believe in werewolves or creatures of this nature?
Nah. Negative.
I feel like we've definitely addressed my stance on the supernatural on the show before, and the answer is a hard no. So always.
I'm sure there are some animals that possess more werewolf characteristics and even human characteristics than we even realize sometimes, or that we don't fully grasp. But I don't think it's like humans turning into werewolves. I don't think that that's a thing. If it is a thing, I don't want to know about it because I don't want to get eaten by a werewolf. I know nothing. I'm innocent. Leave me be.
I will say the concept of the monomyth is interesting to me. The idea that before even, our different parts of the world were intermingling, that you could find things dating back centuries, that everyone had their own concept of a werewolf. Everyone had their own concept of, like, everyone has like a King Arthur myth, the Lost Royal myth. So, and everyone had like a dragon myth, and everyone had a werewolf myth. And so it is always interesting to me that everybody in different parts of the world, when they couldn't communicate, came up with the same myths. Does feel like maybe there is something there.
Really?
Or people start to use their imagination. They were probably bored a lot of the time and didn't have...
They couldn't be bored. They were fighting to survive every day.
That's true, but then it just became a part of their natural everyday. It just became part of their everyday. It wasn't anything unusual to have to fight to survive. It became natural for them. So then maybe sometimes you use your imagination just to make the days a little bit easier. But
that was just a Doberman pinscher. No, it was Jim.
It was Jim. But I'm sure people like ghost stories and fire stories have been distributed for many, many years. And obviously those evolve. But you also have writers who develop something and in some way pass that along. And then people start to use that with their imagination, whether they're putting it down on paper or just word of mouth. I think those stories start to get around. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're inspired from a true life event.
So, Zach, since you're the one that's most open to it sounds like.
Well, just from a historical context, I
gotcha.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was convinced that dragons had to be real because everybody had the same idea of a lizard with wing that was giant, breathing fire, thousands of years before they could have seen each other. So I feel like if things like that weren't real, then it certainly speaks to something interesting about humans in general, that we could independently of one another come up with the exact same idea.
So, Mr. Atheist, how does that play in with God?
Well, there's no such thing, Amanda.
But those people had the same concept,
right.
And they didn't talk to each other.
But there, there's polytheism, monotheism. Everyone had their own spin on religion to try to explain where the world came from. What's interesting about dragons and werewolves, as we're talking here, is that those two things where the details are exactly the same, even separated by oceans. Whereas God has a different interpretation depending on usually, the ecology of your environment or what your natural resources are or how harsh your environment is shapes what religion came up there.
That's fascinating, actually. I'm kind of just wanting to hear him tell the rest of the story.
Monomyths are very interesting. The fact that everyone has a version of the lost royal who finds out about their natural birthright, who encounters a powerful sorcerer or wizard, and then comes to power like to save a kingdom, that everybody has that exact same story is fascinating.
Maybe it's because the family has passed it down generation to generation by word of mouth.
Yeah,
which would give them the same consistency.
But you think the people in Ghana, Africa, and the people in Britain had you think they were swapping ideas 10, 15,000 years ago when they couldn't even communicate?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but every area has gone into another area's territory at some point or another and could pass along those stories.
Right.
I mean,
there are cave markings and stuff of these stories.
So then maybe those people visited, saw them, and had that interpretation because they were good artists.
You think they visited Britain when they were like in caves?
You don't know. Man, you don't know their life.
They didn't have boats.
Interesting. All right. You got some like caveman going, Britain.
Look, I'm just trying to make sense of this because I don't think it's something that people have seen. I just think it's part of imagination.
Well, you do have the concept of animals. And I think, the dog is very prominent in every culture, in every area of the world. So to me, that seems a very practical application of folklore. How you would have an animal and you would transform it into a bigger animal, people turning into that animal, that sort of thing. Dragons, that's a little harder to get to because never seen anything that looked like a dragon before. Maybe an iguana.
Lizards and stuff.
That's a little smaller. Doesn't fly, doesn't breathe fire. That's quite a leap.
Amplify it. You have dragons.
Dragons are real. You heard it here first.
So I was trying to ask a question a minute ago, and your epilogue was beautiful, so I didn't want to interrupt. Since you are more open to it in that respect, and you still don't believe in supernatural stuff, but a little bit more open to it, if you are kind of out in the middle of nowhere, streets at night, woods, whatever, and you hear a howling, does it ever cross your mind that it could be a werewolf? Or do you ever think that?
It has crossed my mind that I hope it's a werewolf.
What?
Not that it would chase me down and eat me, but then it would be cool to live in a world where those things were real. I think it would make everything more interesting.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Just to have some vicious animal that's like ripping flesh apart of innocent people who are just walking by. That would be super cool.
You only have to worry about it, one night a month?
3.
It's just like The Purge. I mean, no big deal.
Yeah, 12
Perfect.
hours. Lock your door. You're fine. You know what? To me, the concept of the werewolf is the reason why it's so prominent to me, why I love that story or that lore, whatever, however you want to phrase it, is because it's really about a person who is trapped in who they are. They have no control over what they do. And it is like a curse. And it's kind of, to me, it's an allegory for everybody else's life. There's something that they have that they're burdened with, or something that they feel they can't do anything about, and that sort of thing. And I just like that. I find it very fascinating that you have people that are just trying to be good people, but they're forced to be a monster. It's kind of like the Hulk. If you watch,
I like your interpretation for sure of werewolves.
It's interesting.
And I think that people, whether you
vampires are just sexy.
They're beyond sexy.
Did you see Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt?
Whoa, let's back this train up a little bit.
Yeah, did you see how he was hitting on that little girl? See if that movie plays today.
I think that
She's 1,000.
The reason people start to, because your question was basically like, if you're out in a scenario, do you feel like you might be experiencing, seeing, or hearing a werewolf?
Cross your mind, even though you know it's not true.
I think it's just because, at least nowadays, and I can't speak to like back to caveman days like Zach was talking about, but at least nowadays,
go to Britain.
We're so invested in pop culture, whether it's comics, movies, TV shows, just even storytelling, that those things are prominent enough in our imagination, and we've heard them so much that we start to think about them a lot more. So we associate those sounds with that, and whether it's like a fear of that happening or an intrigue of that happening, I think it doesn't necessarily equate to you believing in it, but it certainly can alter your imagination and your immediate responses.
Wow.
All right.
That reminds me of being a kid and letting spiders bite me.
Dude, I would go out and like walk around at night. Wait, what? Oh, because of Spider-Man. That took a minute.
Spider-Man. because I knew it was just a story, but like, what if this was the one? What if this is the one time?
You walk through like a nuclear plant with a spider, and you're just, come on, buddy.
I don't know the radiation levels of the spiders in my mother's basement.
Oh my god!
I was young.
That's amazing.
I mean,
I was at least only 12.
This probably still happened like last week, to be honest.
The thought crosses my mind. What if by taking the spider outside, I'm losing the chance to be Spider-Man?
I would for sure give up the opportunity to be Spider-Man if it meant that I could kill a spider.
I'm with you. Every time I saw a spider, the same thought crossed my mind.
Yeah, smart guy.
Mm-hmm. No, get rid of them. Burn them. I've never
killed a spider.
Well, don't ever come around me, because I need somebody around me at all times that will be willing to do so.
Why can't they just take them outside?
No, because then they survive. They can come back.
Not everyone has to be like me, where I just let them go about their business.
You know, they kill other bugs, right? Creepier
They're
bugs.
very helpful.
Kill all of them. Burn all of the bugs. Why? I don't care that we might need them. Like,
you would
just
have
get
to
rid
walk
of them all.
around engulfed in flame.
That's fine. Let me do it.
Okay.
Somebody buy me a flamethrower for my birthday or something.
All right. Last question. What do you love or hate in the werewolf genre, Zach?
Oh, I hate when they turn into basically just a wolf. I like when they're on their hind legs still. It's like half man, half wolf.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I'm saying? I hate this. Again, going back to Twilight, this Twilight era of the werewolf where you just turn into a dog.
Yeah, I don't like PG-13 werewolves. I'm sorry. I mean, they have claws. They're bears. They're basically grizzly bears. So make them ferocious. Dog soldiers.
Here's a hot recommendation for the listeners. Sci-Fi had a show called Being Human. It was about a werewolf, a vampire, and a ghost all living together and trying to be humans. Mm-hmm. It's pretty great if you like this monster fiction.
That's good.
Same.
I do not like when they don't have any emotion as a human, but I also don't like them to have a lot of emotion as a monster. So I want it to be separated. And well, the reason I bring that up is because in Buffy, I can't remember the girl's name. It wasn't Seth Green's monster.
Every comparison go back to Buffy with you.
It does. Oh man, it's seriously. They also incorporated pretty much every type of monster into.
We got it. We don't need a Buffy book report.
Anyway,
can you tell me what happened at the end of season 1?
Do you really need to know?
No.
Okay. Aaron will shut this podcast off.
So not Seth Green's werewolf, but there was like another girl that came in and she was a werewolf, and they just kind of like had werewolfy emotions, but like as people they also did. And it was just like, no, you're supposed to deviate. You're supposed to have emotions as a human being and be a monster as a monster.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with you.
because sometimes they're unable to stop themselves or have any control as a monster with the people they care about. But all of a sudden, then sometimes they can. Like, how does that come in?
Yeah, that's kind of a cop-out.
A lot of discrepancy there just to try to get your drama across.
But he recognizes her.
No.
It's kind of like American Werewolf in London.
It's cheesy. I don't like that stuff.
I don't either. I just want straight-on sadistic. That's why I love the howling, because once they turn into werewolves, they just don't care. They're killing.
That's the right attitude.
Right? I love that.
I feel like that's what the monster is supposed to be, though.
It is. That's what
it's supposed to be a tear in between the two. And you gave it a way better perspective than I would have figured out to utilize.
One of my favorites is Stephen King's Silver Bullet, which is an old one. I think it's probably on Netflix, or it used to be. But once you find out and I don't want to ruin it in case you haven't seen it and you do want to check it out, but once you find out who the werewolf is, it's kind of you see that it's a character that hasn't wanted to be that. But he also didn't want to die. So he's like, what do you want me to do? I've tried to force myself into hiding. I've tried to secure myself. There's some things I just can't do anything about it. It's not my fault. It's an interesting dynamic. Are they really the bad guy if they can't control that? So would you guys,
if you had a werewolf that was like trying to attack you or your family, and so then you obviously know that they're human by day, would you accept killing them, or would you try to save them as an animal/human?
Right, they're coming after the family. You got to put them down. Here's
you
an old adage for you. Here's an old adage for you. Men go to prison, dogs get put down. You're a dog at this point.
Okay.
Well, I should have known that was coming.
I would see which member of the family is the dog going for first.
Yeah, right.
Let's weigh this.
That's a good point. Yeah, because if it's your bratty kid,
sometimes Uncle John, he's just over there in the corner. You're like, man, I'm really sick of him. He's constantly bitching at everybody
He's been sleeping on the couch 2 months, keeps saying he's going to get a job.
Yep.
Accidents happen, John.
Basically, you lock yourself in the bedroom and be like, well, I guess he's got to come through the living room to get me. I'll shoot him when he gets here. I don't like the only one I really don't like is the silver bullet angle. I just think that's ridiculous. I know that there's reasons in literature and you can go look them up and that's fine, but it's just it's a ludicrous concept that only silver bullets can put the.
So would you prefer that they're not invincible? They just take a lot of damage or something?
Yeah, that's what I would like. It's more of they're modifying their entire body, both muscle and skeletal. So I would say that it reinforces a sort of armor, maybe, in that respect. Mm-hmm. I prefer that.
A thick hide.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. But only silver bullet. Well, let's go melt the silver necklace down and get us a silver bullet.
You're always melting something down in werewolf fiction.
Yep.
Because I just have a smelting apparatus on hand.
We know a guy. There's always one guy in town, the pawn broker.
And every pawn shop in these small towns always has perfect bullet molds.
Exactly for the gun you happen to have.
Yeah. Here's my dad's revolver. Oh, don't worry. Yeah, no. I definitely have a 32 caliber mold.
He made one once before, and then he died.
It wasn't as effective as we thought it would be.
Turned out, silver to lie. We found that out.
Turns out Dad did not buy Mom a real silver necklace.
We found out really quickly that Dad was a cheap son of a bitch. Do you guys think my story was truth or fiction?
Guess it depends on your perspective, if you believe in them or not.
But fiction. Is it fiction?
It
sounds fictional.
This actually happened in Los Angeles 12 years ago.
Oh my God, a werewolf?
Yeah. Yeah, I was put down on the spot. It's really sad.
Yeah.
No, it's fiction. Come on.
It's a heartbreaker.
Very
Dream
fiction.
maker.
So fiction. Are you singing Pat Benatar right now?
I do in all of my days.
It's just so weird.
Love taker.
There are worse options.
There are.
Don't you mess around on me.
So what's the name of your story?
A Bite in the Dark.
Oh, you guys always come up with really clever title names.
Yeah, well, you have clever ones too. Unfair. That one was a classic.
That one was the worst. I actually forgot that I titled it that, and when I heard it, I was like, "That's what it's titled." And okay, that was rough. Sorry, guys. Don't put that in a book.
All right, well, as our show goes, we will occasionally pick listener stories to read and discuss on Smirk. If you'd like the chance to have yours read, and I think we have a couple coming up, email it to mystory@smirkpodcast.com. Join the conversation by joining our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter @SmirkPodcast, and be sure to use the show's hashtag Smirk. Don't miss an episode. Be sure to subscribe to Smirk on your podcast app of choice, and check out our website at smirkpodcast.com. Please leave a review, too. If you are enjoying the show, go to Apple Podcasts or iTunes as you know it, and just leave Smirk a review, because it does really, really help the show, and we're still kind of finding our footing, so we do appreciate that.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends. Tell your friends. The ones that listen to Arrested Development, both of them.
People like that show.
Do they?
Just because you guys don't get it.
We don't get it.
That's right.
He used that line.
I'm using the old "don't get it" defense.
You know what?
You know that your defense is terrible when you resort to that.
At least I didn't try to say something about Hitler. That's when you know it's really over.
That never works out, man. That doesn't work out for anyone, ever. All right, well, thanks for talking to me about werewolves. And as you write your own life story, always remember to tell it with a smirk.
I feel like we should have done that in unison.
Yeah, it's too late now.
You can't unison and howl.
1,
It'll never work.
2,
It's not gonna
3.
happen.
Ow.
Ooh.